Okay, welcome to this short video where I'm going to talk you through how to use the QLIP impact measurement framework for Islington Youth Orgs. Um, we know this document can look a little overwhelming, particularly if you're not really familiar with Young Islington's theory of change or with MEL frameworks. So this is a short video to talk you through how to use this and hopefully make it feel a little simpler. My name is Ruth Virgo. I work at London Youth as the Youth Sector Development Manager, and you can see in this top corner here my email address. So if you've got any questions or you want some support, do feel free to reach out. So we're starting with this tab called Overview, and I'm not going to spend loads of time here, but this is giving you an overview of what each of the tabs are. So you'll see there's some guidance in tab A about how to use the framework. There's the full monitoring, evaluation and learning framework, which is what MEL stands for. And this is essentially a tool to help filter through and help you decide what tools you're going to use to collect data, so to collect stories from young people that you work with. And then tabs C to J are all different guidance. So C to G is guidance on specific types of data collection tools that you might use, and we have templates for these on the QLIP website as well that are available to download. Tab H is guidance on how you might implement some of the learning you gain from doing these activities. Tab I is on consent, and tab J is on the ethics of research, and this is quite useful background information. So this framework looks at what is the impact of youth work, and we're looking at short-term outcomes as well as like the longer term outcomes that we understand, because we want to demonstrate in real time the difference that youth work is making and youth spaces are making to young people in a way that helps tell the story to parents and carers, helps young people reflect on their experiences, and ultimately helps with reporting and fundraising, explaining why the work that you do is so valuable. So we worked a lot with different stakeholders throughout Islington to develop this, including lots of youth practitioners and young people who were involved in the process, and with the London Borough of Islington team as well. And the social investment consultancy are our MEL evaluation partner on the QLIP project. So they have developed this framework for you to use. We use this framework for the annual impact report where we showcase the story of youth work across the borough. But it's also just a really helpful MEL framework, and it should align with some of your organization's like outcomes and various activities already. And we've got 4 outcomes that we're looking at, and these are physical and emotional well-being. So this is things like young people having improved physical health, improved emotional well-being, an improved sense of safety, improved resilience. Social, emotional, and life skills and knowledge. So young people have improved practical and life skills. Young people are developing their social skills, improving their self-awareness, and increasing their opportunities to learn in different ways. Sense of agency and motivation. Young people have increased sense of ownership over the project and the provision, increased confidence, and improved aspirations and ambitions for the future, for their own growth, but also for what their life might look like in, 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever is appropriate. And finally, connections with networks of support and communities. So this is improved connections with others, improved connections with communities that they're a part of. And this could be things such as the LGBTQ plus community. It could be an ethnographic community, for example, a young person with Somali heritage might have improved connection with Somali culture and heritage in the community there, and improved access to services. So this is things like support from the local authority, such as social care, education providers, whether mainstream school or a pupil referral unit, emotional wellbeing services such as counselling, CAMS, therapeutic services, their GP, any sort of service that young people have a right to access and should be able to access. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time just looking quickly at tabs A and B to give you a quick overview. So tab A is guidance for how to use this framework. And essentially the first step is to have a look at 4 outcomes and decide which areas of impact line up with what you're doing, what activities you're already doing that you think demonstrate this, what are the potential short, medium, long-term outcomes of these activities, and what is the most important for you to be measuring at the moment in your provision? Is there specific activities that funders want specific information on, for example? Then once you've done that, and you've done that piece of thinking, I recommend you look through the whole MEL framework and think about what activities or like opportunities do you have to collect some data. And this can be done in a range of different ways. For example, case studies, interviews, surveys, group discussions, creative activities, observations, are the ones that we've got guidance on, but there are other ways of collecting qualitative data. And qualitative is all about the story. It's about the quality of the data. So yeah, where can you collect data in your day-to-day provision? What indicators are going to best showcase your organization, the ethos, the story you want to tell? And then it's time to pick the tools. And some of this will be done by picking the indicators, because some indicators lend themselves to being measured in a specific way. Some of this will be about what you think is going to be most interesting and exciting for the team, but also for the young people. You might even have young people who want to be part of collecting the data as well as contributing to it, which is great practice and good skills for them if they want to do any sort of evaluation work in the future. So on to the actual framework. And this I know can look like a lot of tabs. So I'm just going to go through outcome area 1 and demonstrate how you might want to use this. So starting here, outcome 1, young people have better physical and emotional well-being. How are we going to know that that is occurring? And this framework document, we go from the left of the page to the right of the page, like you're reading a book. So how do we know that they have better physical and emotional well-being? Well, they would demonstrate improved physical health. What does that look like exactly? So if we just stick with this indicator and go to the right, it might look like young people reporting that they enjoy taking part in physical activities, sports. Young people reporting that they're doing more physical activity than they maybe were before joining the youth club or the youth program. It could be a number of young people taking part in sports activities at the youth organisation in the last 6, 9, 12 months. Young people reporting an increase in healthy eating habits. And young people are able to name healthy eating habits that they have started. And this also relates a little bit to self-awareness in outcome 3. And this is how the whole thing is laid out. So the outcome, specific indicators, and then the micro indicators, what that actually looks like in practice. So if we continue, and you can see that in the headings, if we continue traveling to the right, what we've now got is a matrix in tabs D to H that indicates what kind of data collection tool might be most useful to find out if this is true. So, for example, with young people report that they enjoy taking part in physical activities, sport, that might be in a case study or an interview. It's something you might be able to get from a survey. You might have a group discussion about a specific sports activity that you've been doing, like football club or something like that, where young people speak about this. So, and then you'll see it in tab I, source of information here is YP, and that is young person. So we're looking at case study, survey, or discussion mostly for this. Although you might be able to come up with um, a creative method that captures this information. You'll see that it's not really an indicator that lends itself to observation because young people have to report that they enjoy this. So they have to tell you. And then here we have some example questions. How much do you enjoy physical activities, sports? And you can make that more specific, obviously. What's your favorite physical or sport activity? And this is an open question. So you're asking, you're interested. A young person might say they hate it. They might say they don't really know, and you have a bit more of a discussion. It's an open question. And there's some examples of answers that might be indicative of aligning with or not aligning with this indicator. And there's some potential follow-up questions that you might want to ask. It's this sort of question, it's only really relevant for if your organization is doing physical activities or sports in some kind with young people. Because if you're not, you might have had a discussion about young people taking up more activities and then young people do that. But this would be more relevant to the next indicator, 1.1b. Hopefully that is all nice and clear. Another potential question, how much do you enjoy physical activities, sport, rate from 1 to 10? And this is what is kind of useful more in a survey or a group discussion context. As you can see, it's on the same column. And that's a 1 to 10 scale, indicative of whether the indicator is true. So young people do enjoy physical activities and sport would be a 7 or above. Anything less than that is not really demonstrating that they enjoy it. And then again, the follow-up questions are the same, and that's why it's a little bit chunky here. And so that's how to use this framework, is to look at the outcomes, and you're probably measuring all the you're probably delivering all the outcomes realistically with a youth provision. But you might not be delivering all the indicators within that. Or it might not be appropriate to try and collect that data. But you've got the actual specifics of what this might look like, the matrix of what kind of data collection tool might be useful. This is the sort of question you would ask. What kind of question is it? You know, open, 1 to 10, yes, no. Potential follow-ups, what the examples are of how this works, and any sort of comments or notes. For example, you know, some conversations are initiated by young person or youth worker. Some are some are only applicable if you're doing specific work or you have been doing specific work on this topic. Otherwise, you can't really say that the youth club played a role in causing this behavior. So hopefully that is really clear. If you have any questions, as I say, my email is at the top of the framework here, so do feel free to get in touch. And the QLIP team are also really happy to have a chat with you about what kind of data collection methods might work really well at your organization, how the outcomes overlap, and do a bit of that thinking together. I hope that has been helpful. Thank you very much.